Skyscraper construction in the cities of today is no longer driven purely by economic growth or the need for commercial office space. In recent years, urban areas in Scandinavia and Central Europe have consistently ranked among the highest in the world for sustainability, happiness, and well-being, while maintaining importance within their national economies. Skyscrapers are not really appreciated here, not in the historic cities anyway. And since most of French cities are historical, people tend to consider that skyscrapers are just ruining the landscape, so there is not many of them. As of 2023, there are 23 skyscrapers that reach a roof height of at least 150 meters. Most of the Paris region's high-rise buildings are located in three distinct areas. La Défense, located just west of the city of Paris in the department of Hauts-de-Seine. After they built this office block in 1973, the outcry was so loud. They banned new buildings over 7 stories high. But the mayor, Bertrand Delanoë, overturned that ban outside the city center at least. Paris is set to follow London's race into the skies with 12 new skyscrapers. The city has weight restriction imposed on buildings to keep from putting too much strain on the threadbare mine shafts beneath them. If you have ever studied the skyline of skyscraper, you might have noticed that the central part of the city has virtually no tall buildings. It seems odd for a bustling European metropolis. Well, that's because nobody can build much of anything in Paris without the city collapsing into the earth. Gypsum and limestone had been mined beneath Paris since the 13th century. As the city grew, so did the tunnels, but nobody bothered to keep track of how many were being dug up or how far they extended in any particular direction. A handful of Parisian suburbs were swallowed up by subterranean mine shafts over the next few centuries, and by the 1700s, entire sections of Paris were dropping through the ground. City officials were appropriately baffled, as none of them had any idea that Paris was essentially sitting on the top of a giant quarry. However, with sections of the tunnels still regularly collapsing, all it will take is a small tremor to bury the whole city. French architects work all over the world. They should also be able to express themselves in Paris. A city is something that constantly renews itself, and Paris attracts more tourists than any other cities in the world. France prides itself on aesthetic excellence. Further, Paris does not need skyscrapers. Paris has a lot of empty office space and shortage of housing, but the new buildings are chiefly for offices and none is for housing. Today, according to 2017 statistics from A.T. Kearney, Paris is an alpha city of world commerce with New York and London, so skyscrapers won't boost its ranking. Experts say this skyscraper can't meet recommended local sustainability standards, and there is more. In their feverish haste to build a skyscraper, the city of Paris and the national government have signed wasteful contracts. The courthouse contract, public-private partnership between the national government and the developer Bouygues requires the French government to pay rent of nearly 3 billion euros over 27 years, at a time when the Ministry of Justice is painfully short-funded. The lawyers opposing the move from the center of Paris showed then Ministry of Justice Christiane Taubira that the contract was wasteful, and she in turn went to the Prime Minister, but the government insisted regardless. Most in convention today is the proposed 42-story, 180 meters tour triangle of Herzog and de Meuron, a project of developer by Paris. This ugly waste of glass and steel has incited close reports in the city council. From points on the right bank, it is smack in the line of sight of the 324 meters Eiffel Tower, arguing that this purportedly private development is actually a public project of Paris City Hall and alleging favoritism in the award, disregard of legal procedure and waste. SOS Paris has taken the matter to the court, lodging civil and criminal complaints still pending. Although 73 skyscrapers have been built in the wider area known as Grand Paris since 1960, only 2 of these are office towers, and a height restriction of 37 meters until 2011 has meant that these old skyscrapers have been limited in their skywards ambition. It's wrong to say we haven't built towers in the past, says Soil de Lafond, JLL's Director of Project and Development Service in France. There are 12 new office towers located in La Défense, Paris Business District, for instance. What we have seen is that every 20 years, the average height of the tower increases by 20 meters. So between 1960 and 1980, the average height for a new tower was 120 meters. The current average is 150 meters, and it's estimated all buildings project after 2020 will be around 180 meters, the height of Tour Triangle when it's finished. Soil de Lafond agrees, "I'm well in favor of this kind of asset, and we must not be afraid of innovation and new architecture." He says it doesn't make sense to restrict planning. We have to think on a bigger scale. He believes there is need to be more financial investment in skyscraper, as more than 15 tower projects have been abandoned in Paris. The debate also continues on how to make towers sustainable and easier to maintain. Thoughts need to be given to things as to how older high space can accommodate new ways of walking. A city must be full of life, enthusiasts Lafond. A city must not be afraid to grow within its own wall. Thanks for watching this video till the end.